Welcome back for another Fallout Friday. This week we are going to go ahead and work on one of my remaining Mirelurks. I already have a couple done in kind of a normal scheme, so for this we're going to do a glowing scheme, and we're taking our inspiration from the work we did with the glowing Deathclaw on Frank Horrigan's base. Just changing up some of the styling. So to start off, what I'm going to do is basically coat the entire model in contrast warp lightning. This is to get that initial green glow effect. So we're just going to do the entire thing. So we're going to start from the top and work our way down. I will say I will leave like the front half of the claws alone. Simply to keep them good. Okay, so as we can see, we got a good coverage on that with our initial green, so we're going to need to let that sit and dry. And once it's dry, I'll also go back and pick up any areas that the paint's pulled away from and just make sure we've got a good solid coat even after it dries. Right, so I've gone back and made sure the green is full. I did pick out the eyes and the tiny claws, so we're set to color them. For that, I'm going to use Aggros Dunes, which is a lighter brown than I use on some things. So this is just a real quick initial coating of this. Alright, so we've got the claws colored in, so that's looking good. Next up is going to be to add some bright green highlights, kind of the recesses, and for that we're using old school scorpion green. So what we're going to be focusing on is just kind of getting this into the cracks, as it were. Alright, so as we said, we just kind of added those to pick out some of the lining and just get the patterning set for those really bright green pieces. Now, the primary piece of this is going to be applying a dry brush. Unlike the Deathclaw we did, we're not going to use pure black. What we're going to do is mix us up some black and some dark brown to give us that, you know, a very dingy brown to work with. So let's just start off with some black, if we can get it to play nice. There we go. So we're going to shoot for equal parts to begin with. We're just going to use one of our older brushes, a bit of water as medium to mix it all together. And the black obviously is the more powerful of the two, which is why it's going to override that brown for the most part, but that's what we want. We want kind of a black with almost a slight hint of brown. So this is a very small dry brush, so it's good for working in kind of test areas. So let's make sure we got off, there we go, just slight highlights. So we're going to work this in ever so carefully, and we're going to move it onto the brown that we've kind of put out. You can see this is very, very gently going on. That's what we want. It may take more than 2 passes, and yep, that's about what I want. So what I'm going to do is switch from that test brush to my good dry brush. Loosen up the bristles a bit, put a bit of paint into it. And let's get to it. Okay, so there we can see we're still keeping those nice green highlights. We're working with claws in a bit. I'm blending that all together. So it's looking good. I'm going to do a few more passes with the darker brown, I think, just to kind of make sure the colors are blended. And then we can go ahead and do some lighter passes on the interior. Okay, as we can see, got a nice dark shell going on. Once my dry brush dries, I'm going to hit it with some black as well to darken up some of the areas, but I really like how the lining came out on that. Now, for the underside, I kind of want to try and apply a bit of flesh to it. So we're going to go with some Guiliman flesh, and we're just going to see how it looks. No clue if this will come out good or not. It may ruin the whole model, but we will see. So we'll have to see how that dries, but I think that darkens the face a bit. Still most of the green coming through. So I think we'll leave it just around the face like that. And then for the eyes, always be sure to close your paint pots. If you don't, accidents will happen. So we're going with a nice Blood Angels red for the eyes. With those red eyes staring out at us. Go ahead and just do some black. Just enough for really one pass. Just going to really work on that shell is all. Alright, so from this side we can see a very darkened shell with those green highlights poking out in the cracks, and then from the underside we can see the nice green glowing interior, which is what I was aiming for. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I'll finish up the base on this one and we'll call it done. Okay, so to finish off, we're just going to apply some tufts here. Got a bit of glue on the base already, so put that one there. Let's go for another medium one here. I'm applying these to the dirt so that it all stands out a bit better. And I think right here. And there we go. So we can see we've got that nice glow under the hood. Still some good green markings. This is pretty much exactly how I wanted him to go. So that looks great. Alright, so that's it for this week's Fallout Friday. They announced the release of the Nightkin this week, so I'm going to get those on pre-order. So as soon as those come in, that'll be fun. I've not done that skin tone before. I'm also working on some Infinity paint schemes for Defiance, so I may have some of those. But we'll be back next week with another Fallout video.